Hey kids, Caleb Dennison with Digital Trends here, back at you with another TV review. Sorry about the sound of my voice. I should probably be laid up at home right now, but no, Riley behind the camera wasn't having it. He said the Samsung Q90 is too important. We got to get this review done. So here we are. So in case you missed it, we already did a full unboxing and basic setup video for this TV. If you want to check that out, boom, there's the link right there. But I do want to point out some of the nicer aesthetic aspects of this TV, starting with the One Connect box, which is hanging out down here. That's right, the One Connect box, if you don't remember, is a box that sits underneath your TV or elsewhere. You connect all your components to it, and then up to the TV is one tiny little cable that provides all the video signal and the power. And I make a big deal out of this because I love the thing. For me, it's super convenient, and for you, I think installing your TV is much easier that way, especially if you're wall mounting it and you don't want to punch holes in your wall or add power up there. It's clutch. The other thing I like about this TV that's a huge improvement over the last couple of years is the stand. It's very, very small footprint. It's high quality metal. There's a lot of ballast going on there too. It's extremely heavy, but it's got a nice solid feel to it. And there's enough space here, just enough space to fit a sound bar if you want to, probably a Samsung sound bar, which I would actually recommend, by the way. They make some really great sound bars right now. And if you want to check out our full list of the best sound bars you can buy right now, you'll find it down in the description below. Other than that, we have a really thin bezel going on here around the TV. Also metal. The TV itself is a little on the thick side, and you should expect that with a full array local dimming TV. You've got a bunch of LEDs directly projecting into the panel, and that takes a little bit of space, but I mean, all things considered, it's a very sleek looking TV. And don't forget that this particular QLED model can also be flush mounted to the wall using Samsung's flush mount. They make a special mount for it. You can use any mount you want, but if you want a really, really tight up against the wall fit, Samsung's no gap wall mount is what they call it, is definitely the way to go. So if we're starting at the top with how the TV looks in your room and how it feels, I mean, we're already starting from a winning area. So on top of it just looking beautiful in your room, I want to talk about the anti-glare because it's the best in the business. If you have a lot of light pouring into your room, maybe you've got lamps behind your seating area, whatever the case, the anti-glare here is extremely effective. I also appreciate the fact that it gets extremely bright. So if you have a bright room, this TV is going to be excellent for that. So let's talk about the user interface for a second. This is how you interact with the TV. You use it every day. It needs to be pleasant. And I do like Tizen, that's what Samsung calls it. It gets better every year. One of the things I like is that it automatically detects your devices. So Blu-ray, PC, if you put an Xbox in there, it would say Xbox. And of course, you got all of your apps available right here. You can have as few of them or as many as you like. And when you hover over an app, it gives you instant access to your profile. You can change your profile here or go through any of the stuff that you've been watching or is trending at the time. That works for most of the apps. As you can see, it works here on YouTube as well. We'll move over to the settings really quick, just to show you that we are currently in movie mode. This is how we test all of our televisions. We put it in the standard movie mode. You can also see that we're in HDR right now, because I am playing a 4K HDR Blu-ray. And then one other thing I want to show you that's kind of unique to the Samsung experience is ambient mode. Now, if I click this, it'll give us a number of different options to display on the TV while it's not actually operational, so it can kind of look like a piece of art on the wall. One of the unique things about this is that you can take a picture of the TV and the surroundings, and it will import that information to the television and basically make it disappear against your wall. It's a very slick little feature that I like a good deal. So before I dive deep into picture quality, what is new about this TV this year? Well, we've already talked about the new stand and the next level anti-glare, but I think one of the most important improvements that this TV sees over the flagship from last year is in its off-angle viewing. Yes, improvements were made back then, but this is a whole nother level. In fact, I would say that the off-angle viewing quality on this TV is the best of any LED I've seen so far. I have not directly compared it to the Sony X950G or the Z9G yet, the Master Series, and we will do that, but I will tell you that it's going to be a marginal difference at best. This is just outstanding for an LED TV. So in the quest to get as close to OLED as possible on many different levels, that was one of the big considerations, and Samsung got a win right here. Also new this year is upgraded processing for this television. So you've heard us talking about this AI-based upscaling engine that is getting deployed by a bunch of different manufacturers. Samsung's got it built right into this television. It's very similar to what you'd see with their 8K chips. And basically what that means for you is that it uses a database of images as sort of a foundation for improving its upscaling and its resolution of the image quality. The idea is that you see less macro blocking, less banding, and while it doesn't eliminate that kind of stuff entirely, it does a much better job than it did the year before. Also up this year is peak brightness. This TV gets extremely bright, and it applies that to its HDR tone curve as well, which I'll dig into in just a second. But before we do that, let's just talk about what it's like to watch this TV. This TV is fantastic to watch. I mean, it's just enthralling. It's very vivid. The colors are extremely good right out of the box, and even better if you hire a professional calibrator. The resolution of detail is outstanding as well. It's just a highly immersive TV. When you sit there and you start watching it, you're dazzled. That's the bottom line. It's extremely dazzling. So how does it achieve this dazzling picture quality? Well, everything starts with black levels, right? And these are extremely good black levels for an LED TV. They don't approach OLED levels necessarily, but they're outstanding. When you watch a movie with black bars at the top and the bottom, they're almost jet black, and very rarely are they affected by the content that's on the screen. You can trick it up by putting some closed captions on there, and you will see it light up just a little bit down at the bottom. But halo effect, where you get sort of a glow around bright objects on a black background instead of a razor sharp edge, is almost not an issue on this television. You watch it in a very dark room, you are not going to be distracted by the backlight, and that's a huge thing for me. Next, quantum dots. I mean, why have regular dots when you can have quantum ones, right? Well, jokes aside, quantum dots are a huge reason why this TV looks as good as it does. That's what expands the color gamut. That's what increases the brightness across the board in all the colors. That's what really makes HDR happen on this television. And Samsung's quantum dot technology is some of the best out there. Earlier, I was talking about how it does a really good job of eliminating macro blocking and banding with low bitrate content. We're watching YouTube here in HDR, and you can see for yourself that there's very little banding, if any at all, in these relatively uniform color scenes where you move from one shade to another. Need some more evidence of this TV's stellar performance? Well, how about the ultimate TV test of the year, Game of Thrones Season 5, Episode 3, The Long Night. This is highly compressed. We're watching it on HBO through Hulu, so it's very compressed. It's not 4K, it's not HDR, and this TV handles it extremely well. Maybe difficult to see here, but this is one of the noisiest scenes of the show, where the dragons are flying around, there's all kinds of action happening, and on other TVs, I've seen a tremendous amount of banding here and macro blocking, and honestly, this is probably the best I've seen this show displayed so far. Even better than the C9 OLED that we had in here a little while ago. And I think that's a real testament to Samsung's processing. It really has reached this next level. What does that mean for you? Well, even if you're watching 720p off of your cable or satellite box, you can expect this TV to make it look outstanding. So we've covered that this TV looks great for cable and satellite. It looks great for low bitrate streaming. It looks really good with 4K HDR streaming. It looks superb with 4K HDR Blu-rays. But how's it game? Well, a lot of you guys have been asking me to hook up a Xbox One X and check out the variable refresh rate. But I don't have an Xbox One X, not yet anyway. What I do have is a Luke Larson, who is playing Fortnite for me right now on a badass gaming rig, and we have checked it out, and it's fantastic. We're seeing FPS everywhere from as low as 20 all the way up to 120. Now, it's worth mentioning very few people have a rig this powerful. You need a really powerful graphics card to make this happen. And we are having to dial back some of the settings to medium just so that we can get 4K with variable refresh rate. But I mean, this is a absolutely stunning gaming experience as far as I'm concerned, and Luke seems to like it too. You like it, Luke?
I like it a lot.
Luke likes it a lot. So there you go. Gaming on the Q90 is looking pretty awesome. The one catch is that it's FreeSync, right? So you've got to use an AMD card in order to get this out of your PC. There are all kinds of reasons that you should buy this TV, but are there any reasons you should not buy the television? Well, if you're a hardcore purist, there might be two. Number one is this television does not support Dolby Vision, and for a lot of people, that's a deal killer. Samsung has opted not to partner up with Dolby for its special blend of HDR processing. It does a very good job with HDR10 and HDR10 Plus, and I should mention HDR10 Plus is really mostly internal to the TV. You get one fixed point of metadata, and then the TV does the rest. So if you really wanted Dolby Vision, well, then you can't get it with this television, but I don't think most of you are gonna miss it that much. The only other reason that you might not want to purchase this TV is a little bit more technical. So as my colleague over at HD TV Test, Vincent Teo, shout out my man, correctly points out, this TV has a very juiced up EOTF curve. That means electro-optical transfer function. It really has to do with how the TV tracks its brightness as it's ramped up. Samsung chooses to go on the brighter side of that curve all the way up. What does that mean? Well, if you're into standards, and standards are there for a reason, then you're getting a overly brightened image compared to what the content creators intended. I think Samsung does this to make a very dazzling and vivid TV, even when you're in the movie mode and not in HDR. Especially when you're in HDR mode, it really does pop. It leaps out at you. It is very dazzling. I think most people really like that look, and probably that's why Samsung went with it. So if you're a purist and you want to see exactly what the creators intended you to see in your home, well, maybe this isn't the right TV for you. It scales a little bit on the bright side. For most of you though, this is going to be an absolutely astounding TV. I'm in love with this thing. The Q90 closes the gap between OLED and LED TVs to a finer margin than ever before. It really is that outstanding. And there's all the other stuff besides the picture quality that I really enjoy about this TV, with the One Connect box and the no gap wall mount, all those little features. Also, you can set the TV up on your phone. If you're a Samsung phone user, there's a lot of other features that go into that. The only thing I don't like is Bixby. Their voice recognition is absolutely deplorable. Don't even bother using it. But really, that's just kind of an add-on feature. I can't really come down on the television too much for that. So outside of Dolby Vision not being present and it tending to be a little bit on the brighter side, I think this is TV just about everybody would love. If you've got the money and you want the best picture quality you can get out of an LED TV, give the Q90 a look. It is definitely in the top 3 this year. Thank you all so much for watching. I've been having a blast discussing things with you in the comments section. Please keep those coming. If you haven't already, hit like, subscribe, and that notification bell so you know when we're coming out with another video. Keep tuned to Digital Trends because we've got lots more TV reviews coming. And while you're here, check out these 2 videos we think you'll like.